Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome, everybody. Okay, let's see who's in. Dun, dun. Connoisseur of Sorts, Nagra Sagiel. Life Matrix has left a $5 donation already. Thank you very much. That's probably the fastest donation I've ever gotten because I haven't even started speaking yet when you gave it to me. Okay, Dark Wolf's Den, Michael Fontaine, Shari D, welcome. Gents Club GTV, Intrepid, Petite Penguin, I do not know how to pronounce that. Petite Penguin. I'm thinking it's French, but I don't know. Adam Ant, Danny G, T-Box, Frankie Aponte. I don't know if I have that one already. All right, so what's going on? January drag forever. I don't think I'd go that far, but it did seem like a little bit more of a substantial month than some of the other ones. Okay. I don't have a ton of stuff today and nothing like really screaming, but I do have a few interesting ones. And I've been running like a dog all day, so maybe it's good that it keeps short. Okay, this Kiev one, where did this one come from? Okay, this is from Sky Bracken, commenter on the channel. And it also showed up on Retcon, but I saw it first by Sky Bracken as far as when it was posted first. And I'm not sure if anybody else has covered this one because a lot of times when it starts showing up everywhere at once, somebody mentioned it. But I did do a Google search for Mandela Effect on this one, and I didn't see anything. So if somebody else already covered it, I apologize. So basically, it's about the city Kiev. I always remembered it spelled Kiev for like ever. And apparently it's now Kyiv since 1991. After Ukraine's 1991 independence, the Ukrainian government introduced the national rules for transliteration of geographic names into the Latin alphabet for legislative and official acts in October 1995. Oops, okay, it was 95. 95, according to which the Ukrainian name is romanticized as Kyiv. Romanized. So it's been Kyiv. The commenter on the channel, Sky Bracken, was saying he started seeing it just like the last few days as Kyiv. And he was like, idiot. Well, I don't know if that's what he was thinking. But when I see these, I'm like, what? Some idiot doesn't know how to spell Kiev. But then you see it like 3 times and you're like, wait a minute. So apparently Kiev is now Kyiv and has been since 1995. So craziness. It's funny because it still says Kiev here. So if it's been that way since 1995, I don't know. So apparently it's showing up everywhere now as Kyiv, like rather suddenly. It hasn't changed here yet, but give it a few minutes, another few days, another few weeks. All right. It's one. Okay, somebody just gave me $5, so I appreciate that. Let's see, who is it? Belinda Brubaker. Thank you very much. Got $10 already now. Thank you. And Life Matrix. Am I on Patreon? I am on Patreon. And if you go to the beginning of my channel and click on the little button, where is that thing? Eva's channel. I can't remember how to get to my channel. I think that will get you there. That's funny. I don't remember how to get to the front of my channel. Like, that might do it. You can see how familiar I am with YouTube. Not. Right. Dun, dun, dun. There. Okay, there's the top of my channel. You can see it says donate with Patreon or PayPal. I could take either one. I I don't always notice if somebody donates with PayPal. I just check it like once every 6 months. So I apologize. I am like terrible at paying attention to that stuff. All right, I'm going back. Not receiving data from my encoder. All right, back to bad signal. That is the way. Good morning from Germany. Susan Gunther Photography's in. Plume, Data Junkie. Jaime is real. Intrepid. Let's see who else snuck in. Futuristic. See there, that shows how it jumps on me when I'm trying to read it. I hate that. Life Matrix is back in again. Frankie Aponte. Danny G. Adamant. Okay, I got all you guys. All right, so anyways, I started hearing about this one a couple years ago, but I guess it's official now that apparently stretching is useless. According to this guy, there's been millions of articles. You know how you're supposed to stretch before you exercise? Well, I don't know. I guess I shouldn't be too surprised that all of these old hacks are totally getting thrown out. The body's totally different now in so many ways, and I guess it doesn't need to be stretched anymore. A decade ago, whenever I wrote about evidence suggesting that traditional static stretching doesn't have any obvious benefits and might even impair performance, I'd get a stream of angry messages. These days, the battle is over. No one is obsessed with touching their toes anymore. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who are not on that program yet. So basically, they're saying here that there's no evidence to suggest that stretching cuts back on injuries. And in fact, stretching actually causes micro tears in your muscles, which is the same thing that exercise does. So it's not necessarily bad. But if you're going to do, like, say, a sports event and you're trying to save up all your strength, then don't stretch before, because it'll actually weaken your muscles for quite some time, and you want to start as like absolutely fresh as you possibly can. So don't stretch. The only kind of little bit of leeway he's giving here for possible usefulness of stretching is if you have like a specific muscle weakness, like your calves are known to be too tight, or you have a certain back problem or something, then if one muscle maybe is too tight, or if you have an injury and you need to get back range of motion, that's the only time supposedly that stretching is any good, according to science. All right, so stretching is out. It kind of makes sense to me, because in a way I'm like, you know, what kind of lame human body is it that it can't just operate normally without all this special maintenance? So I guess now it can. All right. This sign, this again, there's a T-Mobile. This place I like to eat about once a week. There's a T-Mobile there, so I tend to notice right away T-Mobile changes. I have T-Mobile as my carrier. A while back, I started flipping out a little about. It used to be T-Mobile for me, just a one dash. It didn't have all these dots. Okay, so then a while back, I was like, all these dots, and you know, it's always been that way for a long time, but I knew that it had switched in the last week. So I just noticed, what was that, last Friday, that the T is like a mile from the M now. When it first switched, the T was just, you know, right over here. It was just a little bit further from the mobile than the dash was, but now it's like it's a mile from. It made a big jump this last week between last Friday and the week before. The space here got bigger, so I'm like, I'm going to just check the Logopedia and see what's going on. So this made me laugh, because supposedly first it was just voice stream, and I don't know anything about voice stream. But which I think it's kind of weird, because I think I've had T-Mobile longer than 2001, and I don't remember this name at all. But So I'm a little bit curious about this whole voice stream because I've never heard of it. But anyways, so 2001, it was always this T a mile away from mobile. All the different color choices. I don't remember that many, but so apparently they're going to start with this new one that's a lot like my old one. It only has one extra dot this year. I haven't seen it yet though. So it's kind of funny that this sign just changed for me, and now for 2020, supposedly we're going to have just 2 dots T-Mobile instead of a million dots or 1 dot. It kind of makes me laugh. Why change to all this if you're going to go back to this, which is really close to my old timeline, but maybe it's not supposed to make that much sense. All right, so it's T-Mobile. I always notice changes on T-Mobile. I don't know, it just makes me laugh. Other ones nearby. Supercuts. God, this is like the lamest logopedia, but Supercuts is tipping. I remember Supercuts like this. It's tipping. It really, you can't see much in here as it's tiny, but Supercuts used to be upright. As you know, I'm just always like, this is tipping, that's tipping. The other one that's tipping is Panda Express. I don't know how many people have that near them. I went to the Logopedia, and all they have is the circular logo, but it's the writing that's tipped. And on the building that I watch, it's tipping like this. I couldn't really find that much online, and it's hard to find writing that is straight on view so you could see it. So I don't know what's going on with that, but Supercuts is tipping. Shoink. All right, let's see what you guys are up to. YouTube will take, yeah, I know YouTube takes a lot of whatever that thing is when you donate. Futuristic left 15, I believe that's dollars. Thank you very much. Yes, you can donate with Patreon. A lot of people just like to do it in chat though, so. Chicken Kiev. Oh, you know what? I have like, it's just like a beanie hat, but it's wool and it's really warm. It's really cold tonight, and since nobody else was in the house, nobody turned on the heat. So sometimes if you turn on the heat, it kind of takes the edge off, but so it was cold. I put this hat on. All the ex-USSR names have the same syndrome, new way of spelling. Yeah, it seems like it. There's been a lot of that. You would think that we would have heard about it all after they broke away from the USSR, but now we're waiting all the way till 2020. PayPal is better. YouTube takes a lot. Yeah, you can do either. There's 2 buttons on the front there. You could choose either. The changes are getting very peculiar. Ugh, just jumped again. Then I gotta scroll back. I don't know why it does that. I don't know why it is that it's very irritating on a live stream that I'll be looking at this, and then all of a sudden the whole screen will jump up to up here, boink, and I can't read it obviously, and then everything, like, it'll be in a different spot over here, so now whatever I was reading, I can't just pull it down and look at it. I have to hunt it down. And it does it on both my computers, so I don't know what stupid thing is going on. I mean, I'm not a computer person, but you would think that they could refresh that without killing my ability to read it live on air. Was searching about Robert Urich a couple days ago. The info about him changes from him being Canadian to Canadian American, then to American. Yeah, that sounds like the ME likes to go bit by bit. Dark Wolf's Den wants to remind us about Mandela Effect Conference.com. I think you have some new videos up there. Data Junkie says I'm repeating. Nobody else is having that problem, so I would suggest that you, like, sometimes you just need to refresh the URL. I'm reconnected. Yeah, my signal doesn't look like it's too good today. I could never touch my toes. Well, you're in luck because in the current timeline is not associated with lifespan, and I am positive that toe touching was associated with lifespan, at least correlated in my old timeline, because I used to be like, I got to make sure I could touch my toes. And I know it's stupid because, you know, just touching your toes is not going to add years to your life, but they were correlated, and I always felt warm and fuzzy inside as long as I could touch my toes. So I'm positive there was a correlation before, but now there is none. Stretching for me makes me feel weaker. You know, I'm just too lazy to stretch much. I do have problems with my calf muscles getting too tight. My ankle bends out just a little. They call it underpronation, and it's just like a slight bend, and so that makes calf muscles tight. So I stretch those, and that is it. Weirdly, though, the last few months, a lot of problems I've had back in the calf muscle have dialed way back. There's been a lot of changes in the foot bones. The foot's wider. So I think the ME is working on fixing that. I'm still stretching it just to be on the safe side. I did find that I cannot cut back on magnesium yet. Every now and then I get lazy or I just forget to take my magnesium, and after about 2-3 days start getting those calf cramps. So magnesium is still required. I was wondering about that. I mean, do I still need it? Am I sucking these down for nothing? Nope, still need them. Too many dots. Yeah, Frankie Aponte. It's been those dots for a while for me, but they're just, the T is like migrating further and further from the M. I had a bizarre experience. I saw the moon at about 5 p.m. Where did that go? It jumped again. Dum, dum, dum. I saw the moon at about 5 p.m. yesterday and was surprised. Yeah, I don't know what your timeline looked like. I mean, it's been a long time for me now, like years, that the moon comes out in the day. So I did see, like, was it yesterday? The moon, like more than half full in the eastern sky in the daytime. And I haven't seen that in a long while, it being that big in the daytime sky. And it was the evening, actually. So it wasn't anywhere near the sun. Interesting. Maybe there's been a little bit of shiftiness there again. It's very hard to keep up with the moon orbits, because I'd only been seeing it at night the previous days. It was also nearly upside down. Yeah, it's doing that Cheshire thing for me lately. This Cheshire smile thing. So anyway, yeah, the moon's supposedly out half the time during the day now, so you have to actually look at a moon schedule to see when it'll be out. And it was at midpoint in the night sky and not tipped. You know, it rotates now. So it'll be a smile and then it'll rotate around. That's an ME that's been a few years for a lot of people, that it rotates or appears to rotate. So the storyline is where the sun hits it rotates. So it looks like it's rotating. And then the moon itself wobbles, but most of that rotation is supposed to actually be the sun moving around because the whole orbit's different now. So it just does stuff it couldn't do before with the old storyline. Mandela Effect loves dots. I had T-Mobile for a long time, never heard of that other name. Yeah, I thought I had T-Mobile longer than it's claiming the word T-Mobile existed. And I know I did not have voice stream in any timeline. Because the first, I'm going to have to look and see when I got my cell phone. Because the first and only carrier I've ever had was T-Mobile. I was looking at T-Mobile versus Verizon. T-Mobile had almost as good a coverage and it was quite a bit cheaper, so I just went for them. And nobody's convinced me to change yet. I've actually been reasonably happy with T-Mobile. They really have not irked me on anything. Restaurant, Panda Express restaurant. The writing, not this, because it normally there's like a circle logo and it goes around and there's like a panda in the middle. But the actual writing, when it's written out, panda, it's tipping. Like that hallway cat in the Matrix movie where Eva is the cat. Oh, really? I'm stuttering, huh? YouTube steals all my money. Need input. Yeah, definitely try to put up like a link for like Patreon and PayPal. Check into the PayPal rules because if you're not a registered nonprofit, then it's actually illegal for you to use the nonprofit option. And if they catch you, they'll steal all your money. So I have it there as if I sold something and you're paying it so that they charge taxes and stuff. But I don't have to worry about any illegalities that way. So no data. Hopefully you're still hearing me. I know my channel looks see that it hasn't been that smooth a signal today. So anyway, yeah, PayPal I think takes the least. They take about 3.5%. But they might charge tax. Now, it used to be they'd only charge tax if it was California, but this is something that's exploded in the last year, is that I think it's maybe around half the United States. It used to be that it was unconstitutional to charge taxes for out-of-state stuff, but somehow they got around that. And so anything that's shipped to California now is charged tax, and Washington and a bunch of other places. It's kind of confusing for, I'm not sure if PayPal will do it. You have to sell like over 200 things every state has different rules, so it's kind of crazy. But if you sell more than a certain amount to that state per year, then they'll charge tax. And I'm not sure if PayPal is charging it. Yesterday, the moon looked as if someone had cut it. Would not let me photograph it. It's so bright now. My eyes, I don't know if it's just my eyes, but my eyes actually have trouble focusing on it. And the camera just doesn't seem to want to so much either, as far as the moon we're talking about here. Freaky thing when it's midday and it's sunny and the moon's out, but the moon's close to the sun. That's just weird. Need input. Yeah, it's been that way for a while now. But, in my old timeline, the moon only came out at night. And that's becoming less common of an ME for me, for me finding other people that remember that. So, yeah, Futuristic left $15. Thank you. I bet my wife lives way longer than me. Oh, yeah. Do you have a Japanese wife? I don't know. everybody lives so long now. So whatever is the reality now, I mean, 5 years from now, who knows what. According to Patreon, you have a few followers and cash. Yes, I do. Cupie, who's not here, she's like one of the first ones, and she's the best donor. I gotta check. I'm terrible because I suddenly can't remember anybody. I'm just so terrible, so I just apologize to everybody. I have so many things going on all day, and I swear I'm like, there's no more room in my brain cells for keeping track of channel things. They eat fish, omega-3. Oh, for the Japanese. I have my theories. I think there's two things. I think Japanese eat a lot more fresh food. And they have those little onigiris, which is just like rice and little like fillings. I think they eat a lot less junk, and that helps. I also think genetically they're just less prone to fat storage. But I think the fresh food helps a lot. I think it also probably helps to be a little bit smaller in build. Your heart doesn't have to work as hard. Japanese, a lot of the Asians don't wrinkle as bad as Americans too, or white people, which is kind of convenient. I don't know if it's the case currently, but last I read it was that their skin was a little thicker, and also men have a little thicker skin, so the thinner the skin, the easier the wrinkles. Also, a little bit darker skin helps to reflect the light, so that helps too. Weeks ago, I formulated the thoughts that if Eva isn't real, she'll wear a beanie in the next live show. Yeah, it doesn't count unless you say it in advance or have you have documented evidence. Otherwise, I'm a little bit skeptical. Dang it, jumped again. Quit that. Life mate. Oh, wait. Wait, I'm way at the beginning again. Jeez, I hate that. If they want me to respond to the comments, why is it that they keep jumping me to the top right in the middle of my reading? YT will pay out big bucks for agenda-driven channels. You know, their search engine is really irritating now because you can't find what you're looking for. I mean, you can write hoax, fake, conspiracy theory, blah, blah. You can just pile on the words and you'll still get like the official NASA live stream or something. And it's like, you know, like there'll be 9 out of 10 of them will be absolutely not what you typed into the search engine. So it's very irritating now. Can I see the moon now? Let me go outside and see. The trouble is that I can only see like part of the sky from my house on one side. I'll go check. Let me go just check. Okay, so yes, I can see the moon when I'm outside. It's like 2/3 full. It has that like it has that football shape right now, and it's kind of angled for you guys. It'd be this way, with the hard edge there, and then the weird football-y weird edge on the on the caddy like that, caddy corner. So that's what I got. I think that's supposed to be what everybody has, but who knows? Oops. Dukeshire is taken off. Thanks for coming by. Appreciate it. My dad has T-Mobile for so long. Yeah, see when he got it and if he remembers that voice, whatever the heck it was. $2 for futuristic. Thank you. Waiting for us to have 2 moons. Need input. You know, officially, we already have 2 moons. You know that, right? You know that. You know that. One of them is tiny. I'm going to go over it in case anybody forgot. I know I've covered this before. Krusny. Why do they have to make it? Called Earth's second moon. It does not orbit exactly like a moon, but that's for now. The second moon you didn't know Earth had. All right, so it has this kind of weird orbit where it kind of orbits the sun, but it kind of orbits us, so it makes it look like it orbits us. Actually, this weird orbit thing here is not how I remember it looking, but Krusny. Let me see what it's saying the mileage is on Krusny now. For a while, it was like 2 football fields. Then it was bigger, and it was a little smaller. It's a quasi-orbital satellite of Earth. It's a horseshoe orbit. All right, so 5 kilometers. So like how many kilometers? 2 miles. 5 kilometers. 3 miles. What is the size of a football field? It's not that. $360 feet. All right. So it's gotten bigger because it was like 2 football fields last I checked. It's 3 miles now, 3.10 miles. Interesting. Okay, so Krusny has made a jump in size. I've actually seen it get bigger and then smaller, then bigger. So now it's bigger again. I'm not sure on that pronunciation either. Krusny. I really should look up why it's called that, because Krusny. Why is it called Krusny? What does that mean? I have a feeling we're going to get more of this. It's a Q-type Aten. That sounds familiar. Isn't that wasn't that some sort of an Egyptian word? Like the Aten was something that Akhenaten worshipped as the one god or something. All right, Kruinye. Oh, weird. So the T and the H are silent. It's a Q-type Aten asteroid in orbit around the sun. But then as it goes around the sun, it also goes around the Earth. And blah. It's a co-orbital object. Kruinye. That's going to be hard to remember. Old Irish, and refers to the early Picts in the annals of Ulster and their eponymous Kruinye, son of Sinje. Kruinye refers to the early Picts, Irish Cruthin, were a people of early medieval Ireland. Their heartland was in Ulster, and so it was a people. It's named after a people called the Picts. who I've never heard of. I wonder if that name will change. I don't know, like what it means. People who lived in what is today eastern and northern Scotland. Huh. How did it get that name, Cruinye? Kind of curious. Anyway, it's the second moon of Earth, so I don't know. Maybe you already know and you just not counting it as officially the moon, but I had to say it anyway. You didn't put the Earth as flat. I don't know. I'm still voting on some kind of sim dream environment. So if that is the case, then it would be moot point. Because is the world in your dream world flat or not? You can't really answer that. Look outside, I saw it in early evening tipped and then at midnight again not tipped. Yeah, see, it rotates like the part that the sun. So the story now is wherever the sun is, it's going to light a different part. And so the rotations aren't really synced up the way they used to be, because it used to be they would always rotate opposite. But now, wherever the sun is lights that portion. So, and they don't orbit at the same rates. So, well, the sun is not supposedly orbiting the Earth anyway, but the orbits are just all funky now. So. I have Patreon and PayPal. YouTube took away my monetization and claimed my content isn't appropriate for the that they show ads on my videos still. Really? They took away your monetization? I wonder if they'll take mine then. I mean, because your stuff is... What did they even... That's weird. What did they even say was wrong with your... Because basically we do the same thing. Actually, you do a lot more of what I used to do, which is individual videos, and I'm just too lazy, so I just splat most of it into the live stream now. But that does not bode well for other channels, shall we say. I mean, it's not like I'm doing it for the monetization, so still, though, you know, a couple bucks here and there helps out. That really sucks, actually. So they didn't say other than they just not appropriate. You know, it's not like you put like I mean, it's not like you have bad words or anything like that in there either. I'm gonna have to be really careful what I have some kind of controversial ones, and I think I just won't put those up if they're getting that whiny now. You've just told people how to get around paying PayPal. You need to be careful. No, what I said was do not say that you are a nonprofit unless you really are a 501(c) registered nonprofit. Because if you take the nonprofit route and they catch you, and it happens, there have definitely been people saying that they got caught, then they will take all of the donations you ever got that you haven't sucked out, basically, and they will keep them. And you don't want that to happen. So what I'm telling you is make sure that you do it legally and not as a nonprofit when you set up your PayPal. That's why I set it up that way. There should be zero issues with PayPal and me, because I very carefully made sure that I followed their rules. And the thing is, they don't really say that anywhere. I just looked into it and found it in other locations. Maybe they'd love to just take all your money so they don't make a big deal out of it. And I mean, going to Patreon instead of PayPal would be the other issue. I mean, unless you're trying to say that I've told people how to get around paying, whatever you call that, on the chat. Well, I mean, there's no law against it, so... T-Mobile Tuesdays used to be really cool. Now it's lame. I don't even know what that is, actually. I have no idea what T-Mobile Tuesdays are. I mean, maybe it's an in-store thing, and I almost never go in there. I only go in there if something's wrong with my phone, basically. I now hungry for Panda Express sweet and sour chicken and rice. You know what? Japan food has got to be better than Panda Express, but maybe it's just a nostalgic thing because, I don't know. Panda Express is probably not one I would miss. The Californian Mr. Biffle Show has donated 99 cents. Thank you. Appreciate that. My eyes have been hazy the last week when I look at things, but also very crisp and clear. It's hard to explain. Daylight moon are now visible, but I still can't track moon after the solar eclipse ended. Yeah, no, it's too confusing now. You have to look at there's online charts though, like moon. Just type in like moon phases in my area on a Google or something. You'll find it. Do you ever get attacked by others for getting donations and Patreon? I get attacked by others all the time. I have not. There's this weird troll guy that followed me over from Reddit that used to attack me all the time, but it was just like this one dude. He was just kind of nuts. He was obsessive or something. And he was bugging me for like 2 years, and I think he finally moved on with his life. Maybe it was that guy. Sometimes other channels have said nasty stuff about me, and I just kind of ignore them because I just don't want to get involved in all that. And with the shifts and stuff, it's actually pretty weird because I can't really be sure that in the current timeline, those people did that same thing. Like, just because I remember something that somebody did, they may not have done it now. So I can't even say, so-and-so was mean because maybe they weren't mean. And, it's usually just sometimes people alert me to something that something was mentioned. Frankly, I have not heard any gripes about my monetization. Usually I've heard people, well, my channel's not monetized, like some kind of vague assumption that anybody that is monetized must suck. I actually think it's a good idea to try to monetize now because it seems like YouTube is, their recent policy is that they can get rid of you if you're not, what was their terminology? But it basically made it sound like if you're not good for advertising, and if you're not making them money, then they have the option to get rid of you. Then they claim in the next sentence, in the next breath, that this is actually not a change in their policy. They're just making it clearer and that they've always done this. But I'm very suspicious about that. So I actually think it's a good idea to try to monetize because there might be a little bit less chance that they'll get rid of you. I mean, I couldn't use that excuse last year, but now I can say that. There's some shows I don't monetize because I just want people to watch them. So I don't want any stupid stuff in the front. But California and Mr. Biffle's show will be on Space Out Radio in March, speaking about the ME. Tune in. Oh, good job. Space Out Radio. Is that like a regular radio station? Kyokuk Monty is in. 479 is in. Good point. The Mandela Effect wants you to catch you out, blame people for doing stuff they did. Yeah, I don't know. But I do know that I just have to be really careful because even, just stupid stuff is constantly changing. The first 3 times this happened, I just kind of meh. But what stores carry what just seems like it's gotten really shifty. because like I think I already mentioned I went to get some rechargeable batteries at Walmart, and I had seen them there the week before, and I'd seen them many times, and I was like, no, I think I have a bunch of batteries, rechargeable batteries at home, so I don't need to buy any. And then I get home and I can't hardly find any. I'm like, fine, the next time I go to Walmart, I'm going to get some of those rechargeable batteries. So I go there, and of course, there's none. And they're like, the ones that they had were all green packaging. So you go to their battery kiosk and find the green packaging, and there was none. And there were no slots for them. Like, there wasn't even like it sold out sections. And so I asked the worker, and she's like, and it's weird because usually they're like, I don't know. But she immediately is like, oh, yeah, no, I asked my manager because somebody else asked about that. And he said we never sold them. I'm like, you had them here last week. And she's like, nope, my manager said we never sold them. I'm like, yeah, but you had them here last week. She goes, nope, because my manager said. I'm like, okay. I give up. And then I started wondering if it was like maybe they really never sold them. I mean, is the manager just an airhead and she's just like stuck in her little groove? So then there's another thing I really like, which is the super cheap smoked salmon from Aldi, formerly Aldi's. And they were out of it for like weeks. So I go like once a week to Aldi. And I would always ask, because there's the way their shelves are always switching around. I'd ask the worker, do you have any smoked salmon? No. When are you gonna get more smoked salmon? And so they're like, well, we've been out, and we're trying to contact the factory, the warehouse, to see if they're gonna ship it again. And so I guess they got a bunch of shipments without the smoked salmon. So I went in, like, I think it was yesterday, the day before yesterday, and I asked the manager if they had the smoked salmon. He goes, oh, yeah, it's right there. I go, oh, well, that's great because you've been out of it for a month. He goes, oh, no, we haven't. We've had it the whole time. I'm like, no, you were totally out, and I came here 4 times, and all these people said that you couldn't get any. And he says, no, that's weird. We've had it the whole time. And, my friend also likes it, so he had went to the Aldi in another location in another city, and they had been out of it, and they said the same thing. So I'm like, I mean, are these managers all stupid? Were they not out in the current timeline? Have I shifted to the smoked salmon universe? I was like, because then I really love smoked salmon, so I haven't even gone to my normal grocery stores, and I'm like, I'll just pay extra. Everybody was out of smoked salmon for a while, like everybody. So it's just kind of a dumb little thing, but I mean, like, how many times are the managers going to stare at me in the face and swear these things that I know for a fact were, when I want something, I can be like a little bit of a pit bull trying to get it. So I know they didn't have it, or they did have it. Anyways, just all these dumb things. You're just like, I don't even know what to think. I got a whopping $3 for the time my channel was monetized. Woohoo! But you have to get 80 before you can transfer any. Yeah, I know. That's kind of a scam. I wonder how many people get $79 and then they lose their monetization or something. I'm probably lucky because, it seems like they've gotten real whiny lately about all kinds of stuff. So people trying to get monetized now might have more problems. I don't think they're going to go back, and what they do when you want to get monetized is you have to have a certain number of watched hours, and I think you need to have 1,000 people as subscribers, and then they kind of inspect your channel to see if it looks, like you don't have any porn on it or any weird stuff. And then they used to be not that picky, but now it just seems like they've gotten a lot more so. So I think people who might have sailed through now may not, maybe they won't give them. I'm just guessing, but I'm just wondering if they'd be more picky. I don't think they have the man hours to go back and check every channel they ever approve. So I might have, that might help me. I don't know. We are not responsible for anything we say or do. We can just blame the other selves. Yeah, I guess you could say that, but I haven't really been accused of anything in that I don't remember doing. So I'm pretty kind of, I don't know. It seems like my personality is fairly stable across the timelines. It just seems like some people are just a little more there's less variation between the versions than others. So I haven't had to use it. I mean, I haven't been tempted to use it as an excuse because I haven't gotten accused of anything. I mean, I guess just it would be just the usual stuff. I mean, sometimes I'm just not super polite or I'm gruff or something, but you know, I accept blame for that across all timelines. And like these other people, I never accuse them of anything because, like I said, I don't want to go, oh, I saw you did this on blah, blah, blah. I mean, even right after it happens, I just don't want to get sucked into any wars. I just think it's a waste of time. I mean, I guess if somebody really went after me, like consistently, I might finally say something, but I just don't want to get into those cat fights. So, what do people accuse me of? Somebody accused me of being like ugly. Like, really? I mean, who is the ugliest person? The ugly one or the one talking about somebody being ugly? So I'd rather have an ugly face than that kind of personality. Anyways, so somebody accused me of that, which was kind of sad. And then somebody accused me of maybe my Emmys, like they couldn't figure out if I was like some kind of secret anti-Emmy agent. Like they were kind of insinuating like some of my Emmys might not be legit. That was another one. It's like, I mean, what are you going to say to that? It's not even worth answering. So, yes, I believe that every one of my Emmys is legit to the best of my power and knowledge. That was YouTube's con job, so everyone would be too rattled to actually read the settlement they had just signed and own court for selling kids' data to Google and the marketers to behaviorally modify them. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Any story now might be a different story next year. It would really suck if you did, if you made shows for kids, like if you did like toy reviews or something, because, I mean, you would lose a lot of, because they won't monetize any channels that are for kids. So if you made your income like doing toy reviews, then you can't monetize. So you can say it's not for kids, I guess, but it obviously is. I don't know. That would be a bad position. Photo said YouTube took 55% of his donations from Super Chat to make sure his earnings were too low to cash out. Yeah, I think they're only supposed to take like, was it 30%? One music video, a favorite song, the date when it was uploaded changed only by 1 day, but anyways, it was weird. Yeah, dates changing constantly. We don't have Walmart in Australia, we have Kmart. Yeah, we have Kmart also. So that was Photo Helix, said YouTube took 55% of his donations. I'm gonna have to check mine. I mean, I make so little. I make a lot more on Super Chats and Patreon and stuff than YouTube because the amount that they give out is so tiny. PewDiePie's getting into weird ritual stuff. Huh. Oh, I don't know what to think. I mean, it could be he's just running out of stuff, but still. I got a new ME for you today. My guinea pig changed. She now has 4 toes on her front legs, 3 on her back. Before she always had 3 and 3. Have you looked up guinea pig toes? Because that's probably changed also. I'll tell you, my cat, I think I said before how he's getting like this ring all the way around his neck, like a ring of dark, because he's like a mute tabby. So he's getting this ring of dark, like a stripe that goes all around, like a necklace. And I saw a dog recently that has that. And, you know, my old timeline, I've never seen that before on any pets, but it seems like it's getting to be a common coloration. The first dog I saw it, I'm like, oh, that's a really weird coloration. And now I'm like, my cat has it. And on his back, he used to be he used to basically be like a mute tabby, lighter gray with darker gray stripes. But his whole back has turned like just solid dark gray. So he kind of just looks like a big rodent from the top now because he's just solid gray. And then on his sides, the stripes are breaking up into these like just scattered lines. And then his stomach is getting like really white. So yeah, his color is changing a lot. Kind of curious where it's going to go to. Need input. I swear you were in a quarrel with someone in the ME circle and you made a video of it, but the video appears and you're not in a quarrel anymore with the person. Intrepid. Yeah, see, that's exactly what I mean. It's like, just stuff like that, you know? It's just like, you know, I don't know if those people were mean to me in the current timeline or not. And a lot of times it's just some mass passing 5 sentences in some video somewhere. So I don't remember where they were to go chase them down. I just didn't track it that much. They can use anything for an excuse. Yeah, I know. YouTube can. I think there's been some other MEs on numbers of toes and stuff on some of the animals. I think somebody was saying about the way the birds' feet were configured or something. That is one thing I'm not really up on, other than, you know, cats and dogs. Okay, so for sure, though, the panda with the extra toe, there were no animals with like 6 toes, but I covered one of those last week. The 6 toes I know are different. There was nobody with 6 toes. Recall and I had a disagreement long ago. We made up he really hates the Mandela Effect and anyone who doesn't agree, but he makes great videos. Okay, well, that's good. It's just not worth fighting if you can avoid it at all, in my opinion anyway. Eva, you know, internet searches today, just reading posts. You know, I'm getting to it, but you guys keep talking and saying stuff. I do have some stuff. I think part of it is I'm just not that sleepy today, so. I've actually just now got to the end of the chat. All right. Okay, so this was the next one. Okay, so this is weird. All right, you guys have all heard about, by now, most of you have probably heard about how helium makes your voice all high and squeaky. I mean, it's been in it like a million jokes have been done on TV and stuff. So yeah, if you suck up helium out of a helium balloon and talk, then you talk all high-pitched for a while until the helium is back out of your lung. Okay, so now there's a new thing that does the reverse. It makes you sound like Darth Vader, and it's called sulfur hexafluoride. And I don't know when this came about, but I think it's highly suspicious that there's kind of like a reverse helium that can make you sound like Darth Vader. And this stuff's weird. So basically, see this tank? This tank is full of sulfur hexafluoride, and you can't see it, but it's heavier than air. So this guy's going to drop this balloon, and this balloon's going to like float on this invisible sodium hexafluoride.
Shall I let go?
Just go ahead and let go. Okay.
So there, it's in there. And it's
Very
floating.
cool.
Isn't that?
I'm not going to play too much because I will get nailed with a copyright. But the other thing that he's able to do is take a little like scooper and scoop some of the hexafluoride, and you still can't see it, so it's like you're pantomiming. And then he drizzles it into his mouth and like breathes it somehow, and then he can sound like Darth Vader. And that happens at 3:09. So then I swear that I'm very suspicious about this ever existing in my old timeline. I mean, maybe it's been here for a few years, but I do not think this was in my old timeline. So he's going to suck up some of this sodium hexafluoride, and then he's going to speak the classic lines from Darth Vader. And what will they be? Actually, I'm going to listen in just so I can hear it myself and make sure it hasn't changed.
That's good.
Luke, I am your father.
So there you go. He remembers our timeline. Luke, I am your father. And that's from the sodium hexafluoride. So I'm not going to play any more, but you can definitely check that out. So I say 2 Emmys in 1. I'm very suspicious about this sulfur hexafluoride. And, you know, that's just weird. You've got this invisible stuff that you can float. So, I mean, that should have been on more TV shows and stuff. And I have never seen that before. I just saw it on Reddit a couple days ago. All right, so saw this on Facebook. When did you see it? The sodium hexafluoride? Oh, I am positive I've not mentioned sodium hexafluoride before. Luke, I am your father. That's an old Emmy. I certainly cannot take credit for that. No, I've dropped my... Oh, there it is. My other mouse. Arnold. Yeah, and he has a normal voice. I just don't want to play too much of it because they can get really whiny about copyright. I'm trying to be really careful. I'm sure I did not talk about sodium hexafluoride. In my brain of the current timeline, I am sure I have not talked about that one. Now, I did talk about this weird, like, behavior of water and how super frozen water somehow can, like, pass through glass now. Or it's not, like, just frozen. It's, like, beyond frozen. And it becomes, like, a super liquid and all that. That I have talked about, but it wasn't sodium hexafluoride. And it wasn't about sounding like Darth Vader. I am positive I have not spoken about sounding like Darth Vader. Need input was merely questioning some of his being actual ME, but it's whatever. You know, you're really walking on thin ice if you start questioning people's MEs, I have to say. Somebody swears I covered the reverse helium. You know, it could be in another timeline. I figured it out 2 weeks ago. I don't know. You know, I can't say, but I am positive I have not recovered it in the current memory timeline. There's sometimes when I look at him and I'm like, Actually, that thumbnail, I think I've seen it before, but I can't remember if I actually covered it. That creature on the thumbnail. Last year, you showed the same video about sodium hexafluoride. Not in my memory. I don't know what to say. You know, I have also had videos put up by other YouTubers, and I swear they already put them up, and a couple other people would swear, and they're like, nope. And it's not in their, you know, it's not in their video history of the current timeline. So some Tasmanians have 7 toes. Are we talking about human Tasmanians or Tasmanian devils? Tasmanians have 7 toes. That's interesting, actually. 7, huh? 7 toes. Let's see. Are we talking about people? Toes. Polydactyl cat, thylacine. All right, I'm not really finding anything for 7 toes. I mean, there's definitely people. Devils have 5 long toes on their 4 feet, 4 pointing the. All right, that's the animals. Extra fingers and toes were revered in ancient culture. The Pueblo people of Chaco Canyon decorated the great house with 6-digit footprints and sandal-shaped art. Yeah, no, I don't think so. This timeline loves its extra toes and lacks of toes. Oh, look, Tasmanian devils have a big white spot on their neck now. Yeah, no. They definitely did not have that big white spot before. Carnivorous marsupials. Look at that. Nobody's. All right, so I'm not seeing about those toes, but yeah, this timeline loves its extra toes for sure. All right, where are we now? I live in Tasmania, never heard of anyone with 7 toes. Well, just wait a few years. I'm sure they'll be everywhere. I don't think you can really say what isn't not an ME for others because you just don't know what their timeline is. I guess you just have to kind of decide if you think they're telling the truth. It's really not testable. I think generally speaking, you'll find that, on most MEs, there'll be other people who corroborate, but, that's all I don't think you can really say because, like I saw something change in my house or something. I mean, you can't corroborate that because it's just too personal. So everybody's going to have things like that. Things that change that probably only I noticed or very few people noticed because it's just so specialized for my work. It's little detail things that almost nobody even pays attention to. All right, so where am I now? Wink. Let's try to make some progress here. All right. I have to have like a spider in every show. Well, I try very hard. No, I don't really, but it happens. They're just too weird, spider. Catching a snake. All right, so we've had spiders catching like little hummingbirds. See if I can find this one. So apparently now a spider can catch a snake. And, it's a little bit more meat on it than that little hummingbird. All right, so this spider has caught this big old snake. That's a pretty hefty little snake right there. He's going to reel down here. I don't want to play too much of this because, copyrights. He's going to reel down there and he's going to bite that snake. He's going to get him. So in my old timeline, I think that spider would be hightailing it out of there. That snake should be able to turn around and bite his butt. But in this timeline, he gets a snake for dinner. I mean, that should be enough, like, for 10 lifetimes of that spider. But so he gets down there and he bites it, and you don't really see the end of it, but he chomps it. And my old timeline, I'm just like, no way. A little bitty, piddly little spider like that is going to capture and bite and get food out of a snake. There's no way. Now, this one I kind of have to say about 2-3 years ago, I specifically said that I felt spider webs had gotten stronger because I'm pretty lazy about dusting and spider webs because they bug me because it's like, I didn't put them there. Why do I have to clean them up? So I do tend to let stuff accumulate, and then I was trying to get rid of these spider webs, and I just was really impressed at, I mean, how much pressure that it would put on my hand before I got rid of them. It used to be they would snap pretty easy. I'm like, dang, I could really feel it. So I was getting really suspicious a couple years ago about the strength of the spider web silk. And now we're seeing them catch like big fat snakes. And my old timeline, that silk is not going to hold up. So, there you go. And that was before they were catching the hummingbirds and the snakes. So I kind of feel proud about that one. Stop making spiders even more terrifying. See, that spider should have been running for the hills. For example, a personal ME could be you and your spouse having different recall on where you honeymooned. Yeah, exactly. And we're hearing so many stories like that. Where you went on vacation, specific events that happened on the trip. I'm merely saying if it's a completely subjective thing, then it's almost meaningless to, it's meaningless to try to say if something is an Emmy or not, like to really argue about it. I mean, either you trust that person or you don't. I mean, and I'm sure that there's probably a few that I maybe just remembered wrong. I try not to, I mean, there's some that I really suspect, but I don't mention them because I'm just not sure enough. It is not unusual for me to hear someone else on some other channel later bring that up. And I'm like, yes. But there's some I just, where's the threshold with how sure you have to be that it changed? My main point of this channel, I'm trying to figure out where it's going. I don't know if I can figure out what's causing it. I'd like to. But I mean, as far as I can tell, if other than looking for trends, there's not a lot of ways to research it. Yeah, things changed here where I lived, small things, but yeah, definitely. I think everybody who's watching has seen small things. I mean, it's actually such a part of my life now that if something changes, I'm like, is that an ME or did somebody paint that house? Is that an ME or, there, I actually kind of has gotten to the point where it's become part of my consideration for things. They actually had footage popping up in my feed of that extinct thylacine thing. Never existed in old timelines, only photographs. It was a couple of years ago. They had like the one video of the thylacine in the like the last living thylacine, and that video has changed. And I've covered this before. How the animal died had changed, and that was the only one. And I saw that one maybe 5 years ago. So if there's more than that one, then yeah. But I don't remember seeing, like 10 years ago. I don't remember any video. Anybody remember James Doohan, aka Scotty from Star Trek, losing his finger in D-Day? Yeah, I never heard of it. Is Black Smithers from The Simpsons an Emmy? That's a completely new one. Never heard of it. Can't say I've seen every Simpsons ever, but I have seen a lot of them. No way he had... Oh, yeah, so he would be missing fingers in the show. Yeah, you would think that there'd be a lot of jokes about, mechanics with missing fingers. Don't trust them. They're not careful. I remember Tasmanian's white spot being covered in a previous vid. That could well be. I think it was smaller back then, but I have looked at Tasmanians a bunch of times. I have heard someone say you checkmate a queen in their timeline, another checkmating a bishop. I've never heard of checkmating a... I thought checkmate was just like when they can't win no matter what. That was checkmate. That's the only thing I know about checkmate, is just that they're saying there's no way for you to get out of it. A neighbor had the same SUV as me, but different color. Now it's a Lexus in the same color. Yep, I've heard a lot of stories like that one too. Need inputs taken off. Thanks for stopping by. All right, so the next one. All right, so this is another bug. Oh, no, wait. This is another weird human thing. I think I've covered this before, but it didn't have like a whole name, and it's gotten weirder. And more extreme. Gyrata. Okay, so there's this skin disease that makes it look like your brain is on the outside of your head. All right, so this one showed up on Reddit recently. So that guy has a rather extreme case of it. It was never that extreme. It makes the top of your head wrinkly. So it looks like you have brain on the top. It's called, was it cutis verticis gyrata? Pretty weird. This guy like literally has like cross hatches on his head. That looks totally fake. I really just, are we getting like inoculated? Look at this girl. She looks like she has a weird hat on her head, but it's all skin. Are we getting inoculated into the weird so that we won't freak out if we see weird looking creatures? Or are we just all going to be just weird looking? Or is there any method to this madness? So this person has another essential cutis vertices gyrata. Basically, I think we're talking about if anybody was going to turn Klingon last week. So, I don't know why they're blocking out the eyes on these, because you can still see what the person looks like. So they can have the wrinkling on the forehead too. I mean, does that not look alien? So this is supposed to be a real person. And some of the ones, I couldn't really find any info, but I saw a couple of images of their eyes being weirdly dark. And it's supposed to be part of this syndrome. I'm trying to figure out why there would be like blocking the eyes only, because you're not going to hide anybody's identity by just covering. So this looks really weird, but basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to puff out. They put an inflatable balloon in here, and they're trying to puff out his good skin so that there's enough of it to cut out the bad skin and then flop this good skin over, and that's supposed to work, but whatever. All right, so this is a whole weird thing. You know, there's more images than when I looked last week. Like, that image was not on there last week. This one's like a rapidly growing weirdness, definitely. There's a lot more of this on here now. All right, so weird. They're also saying you can get these from just getting older. Like, they're saying that, like you get wrinkles on your face, you can just get these wrinkles from being old. Wrinkle face, a wrinkle head disease or something. I don't know. I've never seen any, there's a fair lot of bald people. I've never in my life seen a bald person with wrinkles on their head, but they kind of acted like it wasn't that unusual on some of these write-ups. All right, so, okay, another one is, I might have covered this one, and I just can't remember. Separation of church and state. It's kind of a USA thing. If you've heard of separation of of church and state. I remember that being in the Constitution of the United States, that it was in there. In this timeline, it was in a letter from Thomas Jefferson, but it was never in the actual Constitution. So I used to always say, like, oh, they can't do that because it's in the Constitution, separation of church and state, which there, church does get into some of the school systems. So I always thought it was weird that they would allow that, since it was in the Constitution that you can't, and why is everybody ignoring it? Well, in the current timeline, it was never in the Constitution, and I have no idea when that changed, but it seems like it's like mostly older people who remember being taught that it was in the Constitution. So anyway, I call Emmy on that one. I got that one. Oh, this one has just been making the rounds. If you have heard it, I would not be surprised, but it's just been this week. Boink. All right, so I've talked before about two different fish species. I think it was moray eels and some other like reef fish were hunting together, and that was the first time I'd heard about different species hunting together. So now badgers and coyotes often hunt together. If the badger hangs around a coyote, there's a likelihood that the coyote will drive the prey underground, which then gives the badger, a superior digger, a meal. Research has backed up the efficacy of this mutualism. Coyotes and badgers that hunt together are both more effective at getting food. So basically, the coyote covers the top ground, and the badger goes underground, and everybody's going to get a meal because the prey can't hide underground because the badger flushes them out, and then they can't really just run around on the top ground and outrun the badger because the coyote's there driving them back in. Coyotes catch a third more prey on average when hunting with badgers. Native Americans recognized centuries before coyotes and badgers hunt together. I say no. So I don't know. Let's see. So here's a 2016 article talking about them hunting together. It's not real old, but they weren't talking about it in 2016 because that's when I was researching that moray eel was just like a year ago, and there weren't this. All right, so I call baloney on that one. That one, not that one. All right, let me see what you guys are up to. Another case of animals getting smarter and this cross-species thing. You got spiders having pet frogs, badgers and coyotes are buds. On my old timeline, they would either fight or like the coyote would eat the badger. But check is when the king is threatened. Checkmate is when the king can't escape. Yeah, that's what I remember. Because you lose when the king can't escape, so that's why it's checkmate. Yep. You guys asked for Klingons last week, so that's what you get. Yeah, I'm really curious what's up with all these like mutations. I've never seen anybody with any of these mutations in real life either. Black eyes are creepy. Yeah, there's a lot of things now that a lot of diseases are doing weird things to the eyes. And see, a lot of these diseases have these weird, like it makes, I saw another disease that makes the conical teeth, like the pointy, pointy little weird creepy teeth, basically. They look like little elves or something out of, a sci-fi or a fantasy. And so there'll be a disease that like makes your hair a weird color. It gives you pointy teeth and a munchkin face. and they're just not really, obviously associated. In my mind, they don't logically all go together, and they all just happen to be really creepy looking. It looks like aliens from the Star Trek universe. Yeah, it's going to be like the cantina scene if this keeps up. In my old timeline, you could not tattoo your eyeball either. Nobody did that. And the Egyptians used to tattoo their eyeballs now. That's like craziness. Jumped again. Maybe they are aliens. Yeah, I don't know, I mean, it's just right now I just see it on the internet and like on Reddit and social media. I've never seen any of these in real life. I don't know how long it's going to have to go for before I imagine eventually we'll start seeing them. I mean, yeah, are they aliens? Is it just a new variation in humans that we're all just going to have so much more variation? I really don't know. Recently heard of stone man syndrome. Yeah, you just like cartilage turns to stone, flesh turns to stone. I think I've covered that one. It is fairly gruesome. Maybe the reality is based on personal perception. I think of that more and more. I think there's something to it, at least. Some kind of you make your own reality. But reminds me of Alien Nation series. Yeah. The DNA is all just weird now. I'm really curious about where it's going. What is that wrinklehead thing? It's called Cutis verticus gyrata. So it's Cutis space Verticus space Gyrata. I think it's also called what was the other words it was called? There was other bulldog head was one nickname. I forgot what the other one was. I thought separation of church and state was in the Bill of Rights. Yeah, no, it was just in like a non-binding letter from from Thomas Jefferson, that he just thought that separation of church and state was a good idea. Events are tests. Do you mean how okay, so you're just asking. All right. Somebody remembers being the letter of the founding fathers. Yeah, I think that's what it is now, just letters of the founding fathers. What does that mean in Latin? Cutis, I mean skin. Gyrata, I think, is the, I think that's the weird patterning. Gyrations, kind of. Verticus. I'm not sure what verticus means. I'm pretty much just going by, I don't know. I've read enough scientific stuff that you start to pick up some of the Latin. It's not like I studied Latin anything, but cutis, like cuticle. A lot of Latin stuff sneaks into various American words and English words, so that's another way I remember it. All right, so got that one. Merp. Oh, okay, so what is that thumbnail beast? I don't know if any of you guys are from Illinois. What is your state fossil? This is one I think I saw like a year or two ago, and I think someone might have even brought this one up. And at the time, I didn't I don't think I had it on, but it's looking even weirder than I remember it. All right, so this fossil, which is just like ridiculous. There's this fossil creature called the Tully monster, and it's Tully monstrum gregarium. And it's totally stupid looking. I would have totally remembered this fossil. All right, so this is what they think it looks like. They think the creature looked like this. Let's see if you'll load. So it had this like stick with two eyes, and then it looked like a giant submarine, and then it had this big long snout with, it looks like one of those grabber devices for high shelves mixed with a submarine. I don't know, what are these, like portal holes? And then what's up with the eyes? They're like, I don't know. This is the stupidest looking creature I've ever seen, and I am positive that this was not in my old timeline. So it is the state fossil of Illinois. There's been a bunch of people from Illinois saying that they grew up in the state and never heard of it. And you can only imagine that if this was your state fossil, I am sure your teacher would teach, at least one of your teachers would teach on this at least a few minutes, and I just don't see how you would possibly forget that creature. So yeah, see the eyes, and if you look at the fossil, I mean that the weird straight shot on the eyes is in there. See if I can find one here. All right, so there's one of the fossils. So you see the eyes shooting across like that. And then this, I guess, is the head all bent. So they have a number of fossils of these things, too. Not like just one. So there's another, I think that's just a drawing of a fossil, but I mean, come on, really? It's weird because some of them are showing these portals, but others are showing these weird strips along the side. Okay, so here's another one of the fossils. There's those eyes. This is totally ridiculous. So anyway, I don't know if you Illinois people remember that as your state fossil. All right, it doesn't look like either nobody said anything or that has frozen up. Cold, don't you live in San Diego? You know, it does drop down to like 35, 40 at night sometimes. And my house is like a refrigerator. It just holds in the cold. And that's great in the summer, but in the winter, it's chilly in here. My house will be chillier than the rest of the... I mean, I have to... In order to warm up, I have to go outside in the daytime sometimes. The vacuum cleaner squid. It's like a half submarine, and it's a half grabber. The grabbler demon, yeah. So these aren't alive yet, okay? They're just fossils, but still. This is so ridiculous. And I think, you see the fossil, and I think we'll find that more of the extant, existing animals will start to also look weird like that. One theory is that some occult people throw out stuff in the news to make the collective consciousness manifest stuff in this reality. Yeah, it could be, but then I don't know if it's occult people or what. I mean, who's really... I do think that stuff shows up first a lot of times, like in this media, internet environment, and then it sinks in enough. I think that might then manifest it. But, I mean, who's doing it? Is our own subconscious, the devil, God, occult people, the deep state, aliens? I don't know. All right, so looks mechanical. Yeah, that's actually kind of a thing. I don't remember state fossils, so maybe that's how the Emmy gets around this. Nobody remembers what their state fossil was because they didn't have any state fossils. The one thing I've noticed in recent years is there's like a day for everything. Like today, like a couple days ago was croissant day, like crescent roll day. I'm like, where did this stuff come up from? The last couple years, suddenly every day is such and such day. Like today is like croissant day, vacuum cleaner day, secretary day, blah blah. I mean, you can definitely argue that maybe we just didn't know about it, but I've never even heard of even 1% of the. I don't think we had even 1% of the days, like the special days that we have now. It's very fishy. Oh, okay, this one's kind of a neat one. This is, anyway, it's one I think is neat. Wait. I think it's neat because I've been just watching this one this Emmy incubate for a while now. I think I've got that right. All right, a while back there was some mumbling about Hitler maybe was on drugs and that's why he was nuts. And then maybe a month or so ago, I covered that he was on like amphetamine and drugs that I thought were current. Okay, so now we have this guy, Theodore Morell, was and I had looked, to see what the exact info was on Adolf Hitler's drugs just like a month ago. Well, now we have this guy, Theodore Morell, was Adolf Hitler's personal physician, and he kept a list of everything he ever gave Hitler. So years ago, when they were just saying that it was theorized that maybe Hitler was on drugs and there was reason to suspect that maybe he was on drugs, now we've got this giant list of all the drugs that was ever fed or given to Hitler by Morell. Morell kept a medical diary of the drugs, tonics, vitamins, and other substances he administered to Hitler, usually by injection, up to 20 times per day or in pill form. All right, so here's the list of everything. I mean, so this is the one I don't remember being, I think I was talking about some weeks ago, methamphetamine. So he was given bromide to counteract the meth so that he could sleep. Given cocaine and adrenaline via eye drops. A lot of these I don't even know what the heck they are. Papaverine and caffeine. Glucose, that's not. Here is a weird one I just saw. Metformin. Metformin is used for diabetes. I don't remember metformin. I'm very suspicious about metformin being that old, that it was in World War II. I thought that was a rather newer drug, but apparently it was given to Hitler. Chamomile, no big deal. Testosterone and glycerophosphate was supposed to be an aphrodisiac. Pervitin is a methamphetamine again for mental depression and fatigue. Estradiol valerate for circulation of gastric mucosa. My God, I mean, 2 or 3 times a day to improve heart condition. He got Septoid, intravenous injections of 10 cc's of 3% iodine. Testosterone propionate, tonic strengthener. I'm curious what else is going to show up on this list. So anyways, there's no question now that he was a bunch of drugs, basically. Meth and a bunch of stuff. I was in 7th grade and we were told he was given injections to prevent orgasming in speeches. I have never heard that one, but who the heck knows? Did you know there's a laser that can change your eye color in 20 seconds? I've not heard of that. Dung. You know, I've looked into that eye color changing thing. There was the tattoos. I did not see this one. In short, lasers can change the color of dark eyes to lighter colors. This is because all eyes are fundamentally the same, with the difference being that brown eyes have a layer of pigment and blah, blah. Can LASIK change your eye color? LASIK? I've never heard of LASIK changing. The short answer is no. All right, but LASIK is just to improve vision. All right. What are the side effects of changing your eye color? Vision loss, blah, glaucoma. How much does it cost to change eye color? $5,000 to $7,000. Surgeon unfolds a prosthetic iris and spreads it on top of the natural iris. It takes up to 10 minutes per eye. I never heard of that one either. The deal with the trend of permanent eye color change surgery. 2018, so it's over a year old there. All right, 2015, laser procedure can change eye color. This was not here last time I looked into the eye color thing, and you can bet it's been post 2015. That's interesting. Interesting, Shari. Find my pen. Eliminating melanin. Laser procedure has been pioneered by Stroma Medical. Eliminate the brown layer of melanin that is found in the front or uppermost layers of the iris. The fundamental principle is that under every brown eye is a blue eye. The only difference between a brown eye and a blue eye is a very thin layer of pigment on the surface. If you take that pigment away, then the light can enter the stroma, the little fibers that look like bicycle spokes, and then the light scatters. I'm really suspicious about this one. No shortage of willing candidates. From my experience, what people are after is the translucence of the blue eyes rather than the color of the blue eye. All right, so you can contact these people. Published in 2015, so quite a number of years ago. All right, I'm going to write this one down. See if my pen will work. Dang it. This is the second pen that's died. All right, let's try this one. So now it can just lighten them. But I bet you that we will get other colors coming besides just brown to blue. I bet you. Did he have the munchies? I don't think marijuana was on that list, actually. Speed shots. Meth. In current timeline, bunch of meth. We can thank goodness that we're going to have a rare supermoon in February. Yep. What was that? The rare is common in the current timeline. Rare is common. Reality is on drugs at this point. That's explains it. Hitler and reality are both on drugs. Pilots still take speed to fly long distances. I don't think you're supposed to, but... I want to change my eye color. I don't know, mine's been slowly changing. It used to be brown and green. It's almost all green now. Metformin was not available in World War II, at least where I come from. Yeah, exactly. All right. Oops, looks like I need to go back to YouTube. There we go. All right, I think I'm coming down the home stretch here. That one. All right, I think I only have one left. Tully Monster, stretching. All right, yes. I just found this one like an hour ago. And I don't know. It's not the best Emmy ever, but it's just one that really made me laugh. There is just no way that this would not have been on the news. It's called Shermer's neck. So apparently, in the current timeline, this happens to long-distance bicycle riders sometimes, is that if you get really heavily fatigued, your neck muscles will stop working. And so you can't hold up your neck. You can still apparently get on your bike and pump your legs and all that, but your neck muscles... And this is just weird because, like, why would your neck muscles give out when your leg muscles will still work? So your neck muscles give out. It's called Shermer's neck. All right. And so they can't hold up their head. They can still sit on their bike and they can pedal and hold their arms up and their bodies up and all that. But their neck will flop down. Their head will flop down like a limp biscuit, apparently. And so what they have to do is they have to put this contraption together to keep their head, like their head from flopping down. Okay, so this guy he wants to finish the race, but he's got Shermer's neck. So he's made this contraption with pipes to like hold his neck up so he can keep riding. Okay, here's another contraption another guy came up with. So they said you get like 1 to 2 hours, like you start to feel the symptoms, and with 1 or 2 hours, your neck will flop down and you can't hold it up. And then they have to come up with these things to hold their head up. So this is ridiculous. I'm sorry, but just like, no. Cycling's most bizarre injury. They're saying it's rare, but I don't know. Shermer's neck. I'm just wondering if we're going to see more like this. I don't get it. Like, why would your neck conk out, but all your others... Wouldn't the muscle that you're operating be the one to conk out? The neck is the thing that's doing the least work. Shermer's neck and how I dealt with it. I first experienced Shermer's neck in 2015 during my first go at the Transcontinental Race. I'm going to just look up some of these images here. All right, so this guy's got it. So they should just have, like, contraptions for it, but it looks like they have to make their own up, or... This guy just put a big donut around his head. A problem which occurs on long bicycle rides. It's just so weird. I'm kind of glad I ended on this one. So now everybody's got like weird head contraptions. I mean, are there aliens that can't hold up their fake human heads or something? And so they have to have, I don't know. I just don't get this. Suddenly you can't hold up your head. I really should. I didn't look at this very long because I was trying to get ready for the rest of the stream. But let me just get the wiki out and see what else it has to say, if there is a wiki. An acute medical condition is named for him, Shermer neck. You know, the ones I was reading about, they didn't talk a lot about pain. They said mostly it was like just weakness. Here they're calling it in pain and weakness, but it seems like they're really concentrating on the weakness aspect of this. All right, you know, there's not much on Shermer's neck. Because the wiki just had Shermer. I don't think I'm even finding the wiki on this. I had to stop every kilometer to stretch my neck. Yeah, it doesn't... You know, I just ran across this by accident. There seems to be a ton of articles on it. But there's no wiki yet, so I wonder if I caught it really early. Let's see what you guys are up to here. The blue color that comes up after that laser is very alien and weird. Ooh, let me look that up. After laser treatment. See if I can find some of those images. Derp, derp. The problem is, unless they specifically say that it's after the treatment... Eyes after LASIK surgery. Unless they say it's after the treatment, it could be just like... It could be just like Photoshop. That person looks really miserable. Did somebody just get a Photoshop eyes, or are they really creepy eyes? Of course, in the current timeline, can you even be sure there's a different? Cosmetic eye surgery leaves Instagram model partially blind. All right, so that is really weird looking. It looks like a creepy alien fake lens over the top. Like, what do you call those? Colored contacts. It doesn't really look like an eye. Having surgery to change the color of your eyes can really leave you blue. Was left partially blind after a controversial surgery procedure to change her eye color. Wanted to alter eyes from hazel to light gray by undergoing a procedure. That's not no ordinary light gray. She lost 80% of vision in her right eye and 50% in her left eye. Let's see if we can make this image any bigger. I don't think that's going to load, so I'm going to give up. Link. Yeah, that it's all right, so this looks like some eye color changes. See what we can find here. Yeah, this is new. I don't remember this. So now if you see somebody with super creepy eyes, oh, they had laser surgery. All right, I need to find before and afters. Laser eye color before and after. All right, so this one turned... Dangers is your white parts can turn purple? Ooh. Yeah, that's pretty light, weird, creepy eyes. Is that legit? So they're like really light. They don't look natural at all. That's not blue. It's like almost white. I mean, if that's the legit color. Model Sayora. Did that ever load? Yeah, they're yeah, they're creepy. Of course, it's gonna load at like snail's pace. There's not a lot of before and afters. You'd think there'd be more. This one might be one. All right, I'm going to try this last one. If that's not one, I quit. All right, there's the before and afters, and they're like postage stamp size. Let's see if we can get... I'm going to try to expand this a little bit here. I can't imagine someone would do a before and after and then load such a tiny file. All right. Those look like... Okay, so this must be the before and this must be the after, I would guess. So that one's... Yeah, they're creepy. This one's like a creepy green. I wonder if they can even change the colors. Like, do they get to pick green versus blue? Or how does that even work? They look weirdly fogged out, too. I don't know if it's crappy photography. Gonna unzoom now. Yeah, so that's weird. I agree with you. They do all... None of them really look natural, hardly. They all have a weird gray to them. I've never seen that look. Weirdly, they don't seem to have that many of the natural striations and variations that are normally in the eye. Weird. All right, yeah. That's some weird business. Let me just try on one eye and then consider the other one. Why do brown eyes want blue? I have blue, very sensitive to light. Blue is really pretty, I have to say. Especially those... I personally like the really blue ones, not like you look like you're white or like... I mean, the deep blue ones. I like them. I think people will do a lot for looks. I once met a woman with creepy blue eyes. The blue was well like white. I couldn't shake the feeling that she was not human. Yeah, I've never met any. I've met people with some deep blue eyes, but they still looked human. See, like this one right here, that doesn't look human. Wouldn't that hurt? Why would someone do that? I don't know. You know, laser surgery to fix your vision doesn't hurt at all. They don't even put any painkiller. You don't feel anything hardly. I mean, they don't. You don't feel any pain. So laser treatment on the eye for that does not apparently hurt. So maybe this doesn't either. Reminds me of the eye color of the woman in the They Live movie. This seems as smart as injecting quick dry cement in your butt, but yeah, well, I don't know. This is the first volley. I think in 5 years, it's just going to be no big whoop, and 99.9% of them are fine. You hear about a few bad ones, but, that's true with any surgery, that things can go awry. 99.9% of the time, most surgeries go fine. I would not be surprised that as this ME incubates, it becomes not a big deal. All you bashing the millennials, aren't they your children that you failed to bring up properly? Yeah, I'm very curious what's going on with millennials. On the face of it, it does seem that we've hit a generation where a lot of current parents were able to sort of spoil their kids a lot more. They thought that they were helping their kids. They didn't want their kids to suffer, so they protected their children from a lot of the, trials of growing up, probably thinking that they were helping them. But I think what we see is that if kids are overprotected, then when they hit 18 and they're not under their parents' wing, or they're less under their parents' wing, they're less prepared to deal with problems because they haven't had to deal with problems for so many times in their formative years when you usually have to deal with problems. They just are ill-equipped to deal with them, and they've kind of passed, when you're young, you learn faster, and now they're kind of older and they're having to learn the stuff that a lot of us learned when we were 5. Everybody's trying to be so fair and protect the kids, but life's not fair. And so at some point, you keep trying to make life fair for them. You can't do that forever. So I do think that's part of it. But I wonder how it's all wrapped up into these reality changes. Is maybe that's just a mask or an excuse for the fact that they really are different than when we grew up. I mean, definitely I see differences in the little babies with the strength and the speed of learning that I don't think was there in my old timeline. So these really are, in my opinion, probably different types of humans than we were when we were children. So that they definitely seem to be more emotion driven. One thing I've read is articles saying that the kids of this generations are they bully each other less, and they're more inclusive to people who are different. Not to say that there are no mean things that ever happen, but that seems to be a trend that the teachers are noticing. Some good things. Of course, if you're like an employer and your new employees are spoiled and whiny and don't know how to turn on the vacuum cleaner, that's very irritating. But maybe we'll see maybe less war, less violence. There could be some side effects that we could definitely be beneficial. They care about others more, maybe. They're different than us, and so of course we're gonna whine. We're gonna whine about their whininess, but I think we got to try to keep an open mind, because first of all, old people in every generation whine about the younger kids. So I don't know. Give them a chance. I would guess is all I can really say. Try to be patient. Every older generation whines about every younger generation, so now it's our turn. I think we just have to cross our fingers that it'll work out. Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying about the snowflakes, but I think there's going to be both positives and negatives here, and maybe this is just the route we have to take, The other thing a lot of people are saying is, my generation grew up without computers. We had really simple video games, but, Pong and stuff. People still were forced to talk face to face. So I'm suspecting that some of the anxiety is kids have not been forced to communicate face to face as much. They're much more used to communicating online, and I think that's contributed to it also. And as much as you want to bag on that group of people, if we grew up now, we would probably be like them. They're a creation of the environment, so it's not their fault. Is what I'm trying to say. They are dealing with what they were given. So let's try to be patient is all I'm saying. They're not going to be like us. We have to hope that there'll be more good things than bad things. I mean, it's very easy to just point at all the bad things, but there are also good things. And we can only hope that, maybe they will be more spoiled, more whiny and want more, but maybe by all those things, all those demanding more, maybe they'll get more. Maybe the reality will shift to those demands, and maybe that's what we need. Maybe we need people demanding better, and to us that might be like super spoiled, but maybe that's what we really got to have to change this world. At a metaphysical level, it's got to be different ways of thinking. I mean, maybe the more they whine and cry and stuff, maybe those things will manifest, the things that they desire: an easier life, less work, more free time, universal income. I don't think I even really trust math and economics anymore. I mean, you can't have that without that. I don't believe that anymore. I think we can have it. I don't necessarily assume all the things I used to assume that if one thing happened, then something else would have to happen. That if a good thing happened, there had to be a bad thing. I don't think that I blindly trust that anymore. All right, anyway, it looks like I'm coming up on the 2-hour mark here. I researched intensely on the founder of NASA, Wernher von Braun. Was that person the founder of NASA now? I don't remember Wernher von Braun being the founder of NASA. No, Dwight D. Eisenhower was the founder of NASA. Wernher von Braun was snagged from Germany. Yeah, okay, I don't know. I met a Japanese guy who tattooed his eyes black. That's just something that's only been available in the last few years for me personally, was this eye tattooing of color. There are people mentioning how they can feel the ME changes happening. So what's that to say? Younger gens have these feelings as well. I've heard people say that they feel kind of crappy and have certain side effects or kind of spaced out when they think shifts are happening. That's the only feel kind of prediction that I know of currently. Basically, they feel like crap at certain times, and over time they suspect that it corresponds to shift times. I don't mind the younger generations. I just wish sometimes some of them would be more open to other people's opinions. Well, first of all, they're young. And when I was young, I was stupid in a lot of ways that I have since become less stupid at. So you got to give them that. We're seeing a younger version. They're not going to have the wisdom of an older person, no matter what generation they're from. I mean, you got to give them that. I also think that this whole shallow lack of listening thing is in a lot of the older people now much more than it used to be. So it's not just the younger generation. I think all the generations are like that here, compared to my old timeline anyway. My car just changed again. The long beam light changed position, and the short beam doesn't turn on automatic anymore. Yeah, there's stuff like that on the cars. For me, it's mostly been some shapes and colors things. He founded NASA. That's what I remember. Yeah, it looks like it was Eisenhower here. NASA was Canada plus USA in my past. No one else? I don't remember that. He was brought to America with Project Paperclip. That's what I remember, yes. Although that whole Project Paperclip name is sort of recent for me, but I do remember he was snagged from Germany after the war. Maybe some MEs are ask and ye shall receive, but not asking aloud, but in thoughts. Yeah, a lot that fits in with the you make your own reality, law of attraction kind of thing. Did you see NASA logo change normal letters now? And a white circle. NASA logo. Let me look. It was normal letters for me. It was normal block letters. Oh, this is different. Oh, you know what? I think I did notice that a couple weeks ago. For me, it was, let me just look up their media to make sure. I'll tell you, my old logo was the boringest, and I will prove to you that I am from the boringest timeline, because my old NASA logo was the boringest NASA logo. Let me just make sure it never existed. NASA, symbols of NASA. Okay, I guess we'll do that. You can see I've clicked on this before. Are we going to have a loading of the NASA logos, please? What's up? The red chevron is the alternate. All right. Ugh, this is absolutely, completely useless. Like, or close to it. The stars represent space, the red chevron in the alternate shape of the constellation Andromeda. I actually never knew what that chevron was. That was not in my old timeline. All right, so what for me originally, first of all, this font, it did not have the, I've covered this actually. I do remember talking about the writing on the NASA. It used to be just ordinary. Now it's got a little bit of hooks on the top and stuff. Used to be just a very plain font in blockier letters and a blue circle. That was it. It was boring. Then we got this spiraling planet thing. Then we started getting these stars. Then we got a small chevron, and then the chevron is like woo now, and it gets bigger and bigger. And most recently, we've had this different font with the letters kind of smooshed on the top, and the S letters are kind of pinched on the edges of the S, and the A's are of a tiny thin side and a thick side, which they did not used to have. Inside the rise and fall of NASA's beloved worm logo. What the heck is a beloved worm logo? The blue meat mall to the red worm. The beloved worm logo. Collapse. Proposal hinged on a futuristic word mark that came to be known as the worm for its zigzag appearance. The logo with its thick lettering and crossbar-less A. Oh, okay. That's that funky logo that doesn't... This one. I wonder when that was supposedly invented. I've only seen that in the last few years. It was 1974. There's no way that was around for all those years. Yeah, and see, it has the non-crossbar A's. 40-year lifespan, the NASA manual has become a cherished piece of graphic design history. Until the early 1970s, the design was an afterthought. There's no way it's that old. So that funky logo is like from the 70s. Yeah, there's no way. There is no way. All right, I'm going to be hitting out. I'm getting kind of sleepy. I think I'm done talking almost. The NASA logo is completely foreign to me. The red one looks wrong too, but closer to what I recall. Yeah, for me it just said NASA and there was a blue circle. It was a really boring logo. Super boring. I used to look at it and I used to think that it looked like it was from the 50s because it was so boring. I just sort of laughed. I'm like, this is just so government-like, where you just have the most boring logo. It kind of almost reminded me of like some kind of Russian design because it was so utilitarian and snooze fest. So that's why like the whole logo is a giant Emmy. And I've seen some of the changes on that swoopy. They're calling it a chevron. It does not look like a chevron. All right, anyways, I think it's about time. Thank you, everybody who donated on the super chats. Very much appreciate it. I'm going to scooch on over here. So, thank you guys for donating some of your MEs as well. As usual, you've helped out. I really appreciate you being here. Think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.